level. What do you think about this door?
There is definitely factual evidence and proof in everything he said and everything they are saying at krebssecurity.com. This is kind of like the vacuum salesman coming to your door saying, you need a vacuum. This is the best vacuum possible. Yes, he has his own interest at heart. Yes, Krebs Security has their own interest at heart. So they're going to give, I don't want to say inaccurate information because that would be really bad of me, slanted information. Okay. They, of course, want to make stuff not out worse than they could be, but they want to let you know it could be this bad. And they're right, it could be this bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. This is nothing new. Nothing new at all. There's been Java and Flash vulnerabilities in Linux for years and years and years, which is why last week on Android App Addicts, when I tried to go to podnutz.com/deals, I didn't see that hot list sign up sheet because I don't install Java on my computer.
Right.
It's not because of the security issue, because almost nothing I use needs Java, so I don't install it. You know what I mean? Why should I put an extra door in my house if I don't need it?
I agree. One door is enough in this world.
Exactly. So, yes, this is true, but you also got to remember, no exploit writer on the face of the planet can write truly cross-platform exploits. Java is the gateway to run an exploit on your system, okay? Those exploits still have to be OS specific to take advantage of the Windows file system in the background, the operating system, to actually complete the exploit kind of thing.
I see. So somebody has to be running a Linux specific exploit.
Right. And then on Linux, to be honest, a Debian exploit might not be the same as a Red Hat exploit, might not be the same as a Slackware exploit, might not be the same, you know, so forth and so on and so on and so on.
So again, the odds are in Linux's favor.
I have no problem in saying anyone listening to this, anyone not listening to this, has better odds of hitting the pick 3 lottery numbers straight 5 days in a row than getting an infection on their Linux box.
Nice.
There's no doubt in my mind. Doesn't mean it isn't possible, and it doesn't mean it could change. He is absolutely right. The days could be over soon of people saying, you know, they always say you can't get infected. I say it's really, really hard to get infected.
Right.
I mean, you have better chances covering your eyes, throwing a dart over your shoulder, and a quarter mile away hitting a bullseye. Like that, without that dramatic.
Okay.
But yeah, he is right. And I got to let people know nothing is completely safe. That's the PCA for the day. PSA.
Yes.
Public service announcement.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Denning, for sending an email. This is from Chris. It says, Door, I keep hearing people email you about Netflix on Linux when listening to Linux for the rest of us. Well, while I don't have a direct solution to the problem or a decent alternative... Oh, man. Sorry, guys. This happens to me at the end of these shows. I cannot read for some reason. Let me do that one again, because Chris deserves a better reading than that of his email. Let me get it closer to my eyes. I keep hearing people email you about Netflix on Linux when listening to Linux for the rest of us. While I don't have a direct solution to the problem, a decent alternative is Amazon Prime. The videos work fine on Linux, and they have quite a bit of content, not near as much as Netflix, but I found that they have most of the stuff I want to see. May at least hold folks over till something changes, and that's from Chris. Yeah, Amazon's got a nice selection, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. I would be utterly ignorant to a lot of things if I said he was wrong. Tracy Holtz is a big cable cutter. He has Amazon Prime. He wholeheartedly admits everything isn't on there, period. But it has a lot of good stuff. I will say on my Kindle Fire and my Roku and my computer, I've watched more than a couple Deep Space Nine episodes in the last week, and it's because I get a free month free of Amazon Prime because I with the Kindle Fire. He's very right. Look at it. Look at the Prime selections. You can easily go to Amazon videos and see what is available free for Prime members. And there are a large group of people out there that believe Netflix purposefully takes certain things off of streaming and makes it available only by DVD because they want you to now have both streaming and DVD.
Right. All right. Well, see how it goes, and I'm sure the selections of all these places are going to change as time goes on. So,
only get better with Amazon. I can say that.
I agree. Thank you, Chris, for the email. Next one's from Blackhammer. Welcome back, Steve C. from your world travels. It is 18 degrees here, so I wish I was gone. Can any and that was you want to see the world travels of Steve C. Go to the Podnutz forums. Can any Linux distro be used as a server? I am thinking file server, FTP server, or email server. Are some specifically geared towards server actions, or do the desktops just have GUI added on? I would personally like using the GUI. Free is good. Easy and free is better. With command line, I have to look up new commands versus reading the checkboxes or options on a GUI. Thanks. And as from Jeff Owens, who is Blackhammer, known as Blackhammer.
Yeah. It isn't a direct yes/no answer. A desktop can easily be converted into a full-blown server OS, and a server OS can easily be converted into a desktop OS. The biggest two differences I see in the base install of a server and a desktop is desktop has either a GUI or a more powerful GUI, and a server has more services installed by default and starting up at boot, like web servers, FTP servers, SSH servers kind of thing. But essentially, under the hood, they're the exact same thing. It's like having the ability to take your 1983 Chevette and simply modularly.
It'll work.
Yeah, sure. Taking things off and putting some on, and then when you're done, you have a Mack truck. You know what I mean? You really can convert one to the other very easily. A lot of people new to the server environment go out of their way to load a server distribution and then go back and load GNOME or KDE Desktop and then experiment with the admin tools in there to see what's possible. And then after the fact, learning about, well, when I clicked this button in the GUI, it went and changed this text file in the background. I really do encourage it. I'm not gonna lie. I encourage people to use server distros, and when you're first doing them, put a GUI on it and put a monitor up to it and play with it like that.
Right. Cool. Good advice. And thank you, Jeff, for the email. If anybody else wants to send us an email, just send it to mail@podnutz.com or door-to-door geek@podnutz.com. Either way is fine. If you want to send us a voicemail, call 707-6-PODNUT on a phone, just a regular phone, 707-6-PODNUT. We will get a voicemail and we will play it on the show. If you want to keep abreast of the latest Podnutz news, join the Podnutz hot list. Just go to podnutz.com. It's in the right-hand sidebar. And lastly, there's a new page that we set up called podnutz.com/deals where you can get deals on most of the Podnutz products that we actually talked about in the last year or so. So it's a good place to go and get a little bit off. And I encourage you to do that. You could also sign up for the hot list on podnutz.com/deals. And that's pretty much it. Dora, where could people find you, and any last comments for the folks?
I'll just say, if you didn't listen to Podnutz Daily 2 episodes ago with Lisa from Call That Girl on,
yeah,
good episode. She got my brain thinking. I think next week I'm going to do something and give away a free membership to the Linux for the Rest of Us videos.
Ooh, good idea.
And with that said, also, the last episode of Podnutz Daily, Scamming a Scammer, I liked it a lot. I like hearing that kind of stuff.
I know. It's always good. It's always good to hear somebody scamming a scammer. I like hearing scammers so much that on that site 419 Eater, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's pretty old. This guy I talked about it on the show. This guy just goes to incredible lengths. No, I didn't talk about Podnutz Daily. I talked about it on the Imbootables. This guy goes to incredible lengths to scam scammers. So if he gets any email from like, I just inherited $6 billion. We need to put it in a bank account right away. Can you please do this? I live in wherever, freaking Nigeria. He'll answer back and scam them and make them like work and think they're going to get paid. And he's just incredible. I was actually thinking of doing a podcast at one time where I just read all the stories on that site. Just read them out in audio, like I'm like a narrator, like in an audiobook. It's a 419 eater. I don't think he's done one in a long time. Hopefully the guy's still alive and the scammers didn't get the best of him. But I had some good times on that site.
I would say that would be entertaining.
Yeah, it would be. I'd have to do a lot of editing of curse words out.
Well, yeah. And just real quick from that cast, hackedgadgets.com. There to me is a little bit of a overarching open source feel about this kind of thing, because I think he's using like open hardware like Arduino for some of his stuff, and he's so open about how he's doing stuff. It's basically like open source hardware. He's telling you how to make a DIY camera crane, for instance.
Camera what?
Crane.
Really?
Huh?
Oh, hackedgadgets.com. Yeah, check it out. Alan seems like a very cool guy. We got to get him on some other shows.
Dude, if he has any Linux or open source in him at all, I'd like to have him on the show.
Okay, cool. We'll keep an
well, that sounded dirty, Steve. I'm sorry. I got to change the subject. Holiday time of the year. A, be safe. B, be happy. People around you, all around you, love you. Don't drive angrily. Don't get into fits. Be patient with people. And I want to thank everybody for coming to Podnutz, for downloading all of the Podnutz content. And if you haven't listened to Podnutz Pro, or you haven't listened to it in a while, go back and listen to it again. Lalo is a really good guy. They just did an episode on mobile issues, like Android, iOS kind of stuff. I found that interesting. They brought up some really good points.
Very cool. I got to go listen to that now. Thanks, Dor. All right. Anything else, Dor, before we end off?
I'll see you next Monday, I think, Steve.
Yes.
I can't remember how many days we're doing this on Monday.
We'll talk about it after the show. To be announced.
Okay.
To be announced.
To be announced. Okay, and I really want to thank everybody for coming out live.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys in the chat room. Sorry we don't do a little more interaction, but we put all the links out there. And look, you guys always have a good time in there, chatting amongst yourselves. And that is going to be it this week for Linux for the rest of us. I want to appreciate everybody for coming out, or I do appreciate everyone for coming out. I want to thank you for doing that and downloading, streaming, however you're getting the content. Hope you're enjoying it. See you next time.